Okay. So, as you can see, the track that has been spun is Austria. Shaz still hasn't. Okay, there it is. Tig has now added the stream, so that's good. Yeah, as you can see, it is Austria, so it's gonna be a pretty fun race to watch, considering all the DRS straights and probably all the chaos that is gonna be in here. Every lap, something happening, so it's gonna be a good watch for the race. Apologies for my parents in the background. And yeah, it is what it is. What the fuck am I trying to do? Okay, drivers are now meant to ready up, so that's good as well. For the standings, last week in Miami, I believe that was Miami. I think it was Miami last week, or I'm messing with something. Maybe. Oh no, wait, no, Miami. No, Miami was earlier. What am I talking about? Mixing with the other league. Kota was last week, and there, Tig won it somehow. Tsunami finished in second, and Ruggy was third. Marco had quite a bad race last week, and so, well, Tsunami takes the lead of the championship by quite few points. The gap is now 9 points in favor of Tsunami. Last week, it was 9 points in favor for Marco. Now it's the other way around. Can Tsunami keep this pace up? Ruggy still mathematically in, but this race, if he does very badly, he can be out of the championship. If I remember right, I mean, there's three rounds to go. I mean, this is the third final round, and then 2 other rounds to go, which basically is Brazil and mystery rounds. So Ruggy can be out of the championship if he does very poorly compared to Tsunami. If Tsunami wins the race, then Ruggy would need to be I mean, Ruggie is 37 points behind Tsunami. 37 points behind Tsunami. Okay, that'll be pretty poor. I mean, if Tsunami would win the race, then Ruggie would need to be like outside the top 5. Yeah, like outside of the top 5. Then he would be in trouble. But yeah, pretty much he needs to. His target is gonna be to try and outscore Tsunami and of course Marco. Both of them try to outscore would be the most ideal. The most ideal, perfect would be that Marco and Tsunami would not score points here in Austria, and then Ruggie would win the race, so that he's gonna catch up to Marco and Tsunami by quite a big margin. Of course, that'll be the most ideal, but those most ideal scenarios happen very, very rarely. So he's just gonna have to drive cleanly, take a bit more risks than maybe he would normally do, and pray that no one is gonna kill him, and maybe as well pray that Tsunami and Marco, they will have something on them, basically some sort of issues, disconnects, whatever. But as we start qualifying, well, actually the qualifying started 2.5 minutes ago. Josh is out on track. The same with Ibrahim on the mediums. Tsunami on the inters. Flix, Dragon, and Miho are as well out on track on the mediums. Chris coming out on the softs. Then as well Liam out on softs. But shall we look at the lap from Josh Luke? Of course, the performance is equal. I have to remind myself pretty much every week. Into turn 1, probably could have carried a bit more speed, but of course it is a banker. So in Q1, so we don't really need to push that much. First sector 16.316. Not really ideal first sector, but I could cut through the turn 3. A good line as well through turn 3, so good. Use a lot of his ERS on the first 3 straights. On the accelerator of turn 4 and 5, using a lot of his ERS. Jesus Christ, he's running out. He's now running out of ERS, going onto that high curb on the inside of turn 6. That was not really ideal. Turning in a bit too early into turn 7. Had to correct that. Of course, purple to the second sector, but that is as well because he's the first one to set a lap. I think that was flat out through turn 9. Of course, not flat out through turn 10, as it is impossible unless you run 50-50 wings. And the first lap from Josh, it is a 105.217. Not the greatest lap, of course, but not the worst. Of course, it is just a banker lap. Yeah. In the championship, back to the championship to like round it off. Well, first is Tsunami with 195 points, second Marco with 186, third Rocket 158, Shaz fourth with 99, Tig fifth with 96, Ibrahim sixth with 78, Tom seventh with 67, DJ eighth with 51, Peligo and Jakey in ninth, top 10. And then in the constructors, Haas still leading, this time by, that is, well, by a big margin. I'll say that it is a big margin. If Haas gets a load of points this week in Austria, they can clinch the title here in Austria. I'll say that. They can clinch it here. It would mean, of course, that, well, if it would need to take Tsunami to really not score well, or for both McLaren to just not score well, and then the two Haases to score really well. Basically, let's say Haas 1 and 2, and then McLaren realistically probably at 3 and 7. 3 is Tsunami, 8 is Ibrahim. As Ibrahim, was that Ibrahim? Yes, that was Ibrahim. Gets a bit blocked by Michał, who was starting his another lap. Of course, maybe a bit of slipstream, but I think just mainly got blocked by Michał, Ibrahim. Whilst I was talking about the standings, Flix is in P1 on the mediums. Second, Chris, Liam third on the softs. Ibrahim, as I talked about him, is 5th. Dragon 6th. GP in 7th, all 3 on the mediums. And Josh still in P8 on the softs. Michał 9th, trying to improve his time. Pimrada 10th on the inters. Roggy doing his first lap on the softs. Should be up there on P1. Let's see if he is going to be. Yes, he is by 2/10 in front of Flix. But of course, Flix has more time due to tires. But then probably as well, Roggy maybe has more time in that lap. Maybe just by driving. But yeah, Roggy really needs to step up his game in this race, as I talked about it earlier. But yeah, constructors first Haas 350 points. Second is McLaren 276. Third is Red Bull with 158. Fourth is Mercedes 130. Fifth Aston Martin 113. Sixth Alpine 102. Seventh is Williams 97. Eighth Racing Bulls 76. Ninth is Ferrari 67. And Sauber is dead last with 23 points still. Sauber doing what they like to do the best. And, well, yeah, pretty much representing the real life, being stuck there at the bottom, even though they have a few points. Still not that good. Tom, in the meantime, in third. 04459. I think Dragon as well improved his time to go up to P5. Ibrahim improving on his time to the second sector. Third sector, does he invalid? No, he doesn't. We need to look as well at the warnings and invalidations. Ibrahim goes up to 4th, showing that he did lose a lot of time due to that block by Michał. But yeah, this week at Orsha, we'll really need to look at the track limits in qualifying and as well in the race. The race, most importantly, I mean, you can get very, very easily penalties on this track. Just slight off from the track limits, and where you don't even realize that you went off, but still the game counted. It just can be just so small, yet it's just gonna give you a warning. Sometimes it is a bit bullshit with how small the off was, but still. Roggy improves on his time on the same set of softs by only 200s, but still an improvement, showing that he had more time in that lap. Our championship leader, Tsunami, in the meantime, through turn 6, but he's not pushing. He doesn't have. He isn't using his ERS to its potential. Marco now starts his lap. This is the second man in the championship, going a bit wide. Well, not a bit, so quite a lot wide through turn 1. And I think he's backed off. I mean, and he's recovering ERS 16.574 by Marco is definitely not a lap that he wanted to do. Tsunami in 12th, but of course he's going to be doing another lap right away. First sector, what's it going to be? A 16.024, 1.5/1/10 faster than his first sector, but of course that first lap he didn't do, or he wasn't pushing. Downhill into turn 4, difficult braking, of course, if you're no ABS. Into turn 5, just easy flat out. Into turn 6, long left-hander. Of course, you don't want to go onto the high curb. Watch out for the gravel, of course. Into turn 7. In qualifying, it is flat out. It depends on the setup, of course, but it is flat out. Turn 9 should be flat out if you have the balls. And then into turn 10, of course, it's not flat out. And then across the line, Tsunami goes, and he goes fastest 1:04.074 by Tsunami. 10th, faster than Ruggy, but of course Ruggy did his lap on the used set. A bit more used set, anyways. And yeah. Marco, let's look at his time. First sector, of course, almost 6 cents faster, but of course, well, he has a lot more time to find since he did a way slower first sector than Tsunami. Through the second sector, 44.584, 1.7 seconds up on his time. Of course, there's gonna be a lot of time through this third sector as well to find. Just go flat out through here, down to 6th. And then into turn 10, final corner, goes a bit wide, but he doesn't invalidate somehow, just about in the track limits. And he goes now fastest, 3 thousandths in front of Tsunami, 1:04.071. That was pretty interesting how he didn't invalidate through that final corner. I thought he was definitely invalidated, but just probably those smallest of touches from from the right hand side wheels made him stick on the track limit. I mean, he did go wide as well into turn 10, so there is time as well to find. But still, Marco in P1 3 thousandths up in front of Tsunami. Tsunami as well retiring, as always. Jake, in the meantime, in the Sauber, P4. A very good lap by Jake. That position. Tom as well, I believe he's up to 5th. I guess I'll check his time. Yeah, up to 5th. Only a 10th gain from the mediums to softs, so bit small of a advantage from mediums compared to softs on Tom's hand, but okay. Chris up to 7th, 0.4498 as well. Last week it didn't look like that he had a great pace, but in here he shows that he has decent pace, at least to be into Q2. I mean, in qualifying he didn't show that, but then in the race, then he showed it in the second half, or in the race overall, but then he just got unlucky with the disconnect. Yeah. GP invalidated his time. Classic around Austria. Behind him there is a Aston Martin, that's Pimirala, starting his second flying lap. Of course, that previous lap was on the Inters, so easy improvement as well. Bubinov on his time, but he's not going for a lap right now. Pimirala 7 tenths up on his time, 16.082 through the first sector. So a good first sector for him. Good, I mean, of course, that he should be into Q2. Bitish wide, I'd say. I mean, too far, I don't know. I didn't even see that turn 4 really that well. Into turn 6, bitish wide, I'd say there. 44.563 as well, maybe a bitish wide. Through from Pimirala, getting sucked on that curb on the inside. That is very annoying to happen for Pimirala as well. Bitish wide hit here. Good line, way better than Marco, of course. And Pimirala, does he go fastest? No, he doesn't. I mean, I expected that he doesn't go fastest since that scare on the exit out of turn 8 from that curb. Goes up to P7, 0.4386. And as well, we should be expecting these laps to be really, really close between all the drivers. Well, closer than what we got used to. Maybe at Kota, whatever the other mystery rounds there were, whatever the other mystery other rounds there were. Mihao up to 8th as well. Dragon up on his time, about a 10th, over a 10th through the second sector. That 10th would not promote him a position though. He would stay in 11th. Does he improve on his time? Yes, he does improve on his time, but well, no, but he goes up to 9th. 0.4490, 8 thousandths in front of Chris. behind Shaz starts his lap. He needs to cook. He needs to try and get that Red Bull into a way better position than 13th. Of course, equal cars, but still, it would be better to be up there in the top 10 at least. Through the first sector, a 10th up on his time. It was in 0.6s, I believe, through the first sector, but still, good first sector nonetheless. Downhill into turn 4, Tom and Jake as we're retiring from the qualifying. They are pretty much safe, unless, I don't know, flipping everyone else is gonna have some madman. Shaz through the second sector, 44.446. So a good second sector from him as well. Apparently a faster second sector, but I don't trust that. That's a track map. Through the 9th and 10th corners, good lap as well, and goes up into a P1, Shaz. The first rider to go into 0.3s, 1:03.980. Very good lap by Shaz. Almost a 10th in front of Marco. I mean, pretty much you can run it up to a 10th. But still, a very good lap by Shaz, and should be safely into Q1. Let's see what Flix does. Nothing, because he's abandoned his lap. The first lap that he did was on the mediums, so by the logic, he should have a lot of time on his hands. Is Dragon trying to go for another lap? No, he isn't. He's just gone off, so definitely not. Although he was close to his to his lap, so maybe he was, but backed off. I don't know. Maybe he's doing practice runs. I don't know. Chris invalidated. Well, he didn't invalidate through turn 1. Ibrahim invalidated on his lap. He was over 3.5 tenths faster, but has to. Well, at the end has to settle for 12th, and he has to settle for 12th, as qualifying is gonna come to the end. Liam in 13th, in a bit of a danger zone. Dakin is out. Dom is out. Josh is out, GP is out, so yeah, we don't see any other improvements from any other drivers from outside of the top 15. So the time has gone pretty quickly, I can't lie. So GP, Josh, Dom and Dakin are out of Q1, into Q2, Bubinov, Tilted, Liam, Ibrahim, Chris, Dragon, Mihao, Pimerada, Flix, Tom, Jake, Ruggy, Tsunami, Marco, and Shaz are all into Q2. Of course, expected with Marco, Tsunami, Ruggy, Shaz, Tom, Pimerada, Ibrahim, Dragon. They're all pretty much expected from my experience. Then Chris, good qualifying for him. Liam, I don't have enough knowledge about him, the same as Chris really. Tilted as well, good. Bumanov, he can be a bit dodgy in the races. I mean, like the standards. GP should have done better, but probably got caught out by the track limits. The rest, I don't have that much knowledge. So, yeah. Into Q2, surely we will go. Shaz did go top of the table, but you know, in that is Q1 only, of course. I mean, Ruggy did 2 laps, but on the same set of softs. Tsunami did one lap. Marco did 1 lap. Shaz technically did 2. So, but that's just me stirring up some nonsense, really. I mean, nonsense. Just saying. Into Q2 now. This is where, of course, everything will get more exciting. I mean, as it is in Q1, Q2, Q3. Q1 is pretty much just like seeing who's going to be the slowest drivers going out. nothing that much really, let's say, excitement most of the times. Just like, you know, most of the drivers should be able to easily, I mean, they will get it very easily into Q2. And yeah, as we go now into Q2, a lot of drivers going very quickly out on the circuit. In qualifying, I mean, the clouds don't look like it. The clouds are almost non-existent. Okay, there are clouds, but nothing like coming up. So maybe just everyone wants to get out as quickly as possible to do their times, because they're bored. Maybe. I mean, 10 doubt that Ruggy, Jake, Tilted would win off, and then Dragon would stay in. Probably just me saying absolute dog water. It's about the weather. Maybe just everyone wants to really get their laps done on the use set or whatever they're running. But yeah, Marco should be the first one to start their flying lap, whether it is on the use set or the new set. Marco is going to be the first one, and a very good driver to look as well on their lap. The man who sits in the second place in the championship, chasing, of course, Tsunami, who is on his lap as well. Through turn 1, very nicely caught that curb. Then just up the hill through turn 2, of course, just a little kink. Into turn 3, hard braking. The hardest braking, of course, on this circuit. Pretty much hairpin. And then the exit is as well a bit tricky since it's a little uphill. Then down into turn 4 as well, tricky braking as it is downhill into turn 4. And then good exit from Marco through turn 5, because pretty easy. Turn 6, it's a tricky corner. Of course, you don't want to go onto that high curb. Turn 7, 44.775 by Marco, so use tires. Turn 8 did not suck him in that curb. Into turn 9. Does he go flat out? Yes, he does. Very close into those track limits on the exit of turn 9 and into turn 10. And Marco is going to go fastest. 0.4330 by Marco Yusufs. Chris goes second. 0.4503. Tsunami only in 5th as of right now. 0.4769. Nice. So, not that good of a lap from Tsunami. Tom is in front of him by 500ths. Michał is in front of him, Ibrahim is in front of him. Then of course it depends, did these drivers in front, besides Tom, go on the brand new set or the used set? Probably these three went for the new set. I'm talking Ibrahim, Michał and Chris. Then maybe Tom used a used set. But anyways, Tsunami down in P6 as of right now. Liam in 7th, 1:12.282, mistake on his lap, and then probably just preparing another lap on these tires since he's invalidated this one. Let's see, Mark on top. Ibrahim very close behind him by 6 thousandths. Then we have, well, Flix as well has invalidated his time. Jake on his flying lap, and I don't think he's the only one on a flying lap as well. Flix is coming back into the pits. Sometimes just coming back to the pits when they, I don't know. But Liam, second chance, or second running on his lap. Jake finishes his time and he goes 6th, 0.4726. So as well, I'd expect that those are used set of softs since he did like 0.42 in Q1, so yeah, half a second down, of course. Liam did not see his first sector delta. Time to go into the race director. Okay, he's up on his time, and a 16.145 through the first sector is definitely not bad for a first run. bit weird controlling through turn 6, I can't lie. But it made it work, 44.636 through the second sector. So it's still not a bad lap at all from Liam. Into turn 9, not flat out. And into turn 10, the rear goes off. A bit of, well, a lot of O's here on the exit. And the lap ruined on the final corner. As well, look that he took a lot of that cut. But maybe that slide saved his lap and from not being invalidated, but then at the same time ruined it from going P6, 5, maybe 4. But yeah, has to stay in 8th with 0.5113. Ruggy has started his lap. The one who is chasing, of course, Marco and Tsunami. I think I've been saying about Ruggy, Tsunami and Marco with the championship standings that he's chasing. He's in P2 and the championship leader quite a lot. And we are only just in Q2. But Ruggy, I think I've seen this is the first one that I've seen going into 15s through the first sector. Not even Shaz has gone into the into 15s through the first sector. Shaz, let's see what's... Well, actually, let's see. Ruggy's second sector, 44.277. Shaz, 16.160. So, I'd assume that those are used. But Ruggy, fastest through the second sector as well, by far. I mean, he is just going to absolutely obliterate Shaz's time. If he nails this lap together, does he go wide? No, he doesn't. And this should be an easy obliteration from Ruggy. Actually, not that easy. Well, it is still an obliteration compared to Marco, 0.3882, but of course, well, that's 4.5 tenths in front of Marco, but of course, Marco, that was his lap on the U set. Now he's 6 tenths faster than his previous lap. He is gonna go over a tenth in front of Ruggy if he can nail this down through the third sector. Tsunami goes second, 0.3949 through the third sector. Marco, he should be able to go into P1 by a big margin. Yes, he does. 2.5 tenths in front of Ruggy. And he's in P1. But to be fair, compared to like Ruggy, I thought that he's gonna absolutely obliterate Shaz's time from Q1. But actually it's like a tenth faster. Of course, a tenth in Oshawa in some cases can do a lot. Pimrada is in fourth with 0.4093. Tom in 5th is 0.4241. Shaz in 9th with 0.4590. Of course, you set. The rest tilted, Pubinov, Flix, and Dragon. Dragon is out on track. Flix was on track, but has gone back into pits on his out lap. Tilted and Pubinov still haven't gone out on circuit. At least that I would have seen them. But yeah, Marco destroys Ruggy's time. I mean, I just want to see... What the fuck? Oh. I just want to see Ruggy's third sector, because that was pretty... Yeah, he's 1.5 tenths behind Marco to the third sector. Yeah, that third sector is a bit lacking from Ruggy compared to like Tsunami and Marco. Marco 15.877 through the first sector, and then, well, pretty much. I mean, the first sector is as well where Ruggy needs to improve. First sector, actually, Tsunami and Ruggy, they are pretty much equal. As well, second sector, Tsunami needs to improve, as well as first sector. But in the third sector for Ruggy is the place where he really needs to improve. Maybe either by ERS management, or I don't know, just through the corners, because as well ERS can be a big factor going into the third sector. If you have absolutely no ERS, then you're gonna lose a fuck ton of time. So yeah, it's pretty much nothing that you can do in the last third sector. You just really need to manage that ERS very perfectly throughout the lap, as Liam Comes around the final corner, and he does improve on his time, of course, and he goes up to P8, 0-4-4-4-4-4. Jake through the final corner as well. A bit of an oversteer on the exit. Can he go into the top 10? Yes, he can, and even in front of Liam and Michał. P7 for him, 0-4-3-4-7. Still, that's 10th behind his Q1 lap. But Jake is doing a very good job in that Sauber. Maybe we could see Sauber finally taking points in the championship. I mean, finally, I mean, I think, like, within, like, 3 races, I think they've scored, like, 1 point. Somewhere around there. But still, I mean, Jake could be on for a good point haul for Sauber. Hopefully that happens, honestly. Dragon on his lap. Well, not on his lap, since he's invalidated. An example that, well, this track can really take drivers with those track limits. Flick's still not out on track. There's one spectator flying in the background. Just going up and down, like in Tetris. I was gonna say that they haven't been out on track, at least that's what I've seen. But Bubunov is coming out on circuits. Tilted as well needs to come out, as he doesn't have a lap. Flick's the same, and Dragon, well, he did come out on circuit, but he still needs to do a better lap. Shaz, pretty much identical first sector, 16-1-6-2 to the first sector. No improvement whatsoever. Is Michał gonna try and give him slipstream? Doesn't look like it, but is he gonna block him though? I mean, yes he is. Yes, he has blocked him into turn 4. I mean, that was quite late move by Michał, and then blocking him into turn 4 on the apex. There was contact between the two. Shaz is improving by just 18 thousandths. But I mean, that is a very easy report for Shaz, because he, I mean, yeah, there was contact between them on the apex. He did block him, but then just, that is just massive distraction for Shaz. Shaz, where does he go? Up to P5, even with that distraction, goes into the top 5, and should be fine with that time, but of course very angry. Should be very angry at Shaz, at himself, at Michał. Is he gonna do the same treatment to him? I mean, a bit of distraction. So he did do the same thing, but not in the same scale. Michał cannot be really that angry at that. Pimeralda taking the MotoGP. Contact between Pimeralda and Tom, Pimeralda gets 5 place grip penalty for contact with Tom. If you're gonna do that, then you need to know if someone is behind, and rightfully so. Only Pimeralda gets a 5 place grip penalty. Tom doesn't, so somehow the flipping penalty system on this game works. 1 in 1,000 times. Michał P5 04166. But yeah, Pimeralda, he invalidated his lap through the first corner, I assume. I mean, really, that's the only place. And then decided to take the MotoGP layout with that chicane, and did not really look that there is Tom on his out lap. Of course, Tom could have done his job to see him better, but honestly, I mean, I don't think Tom is at fault at any point in any way. So if I'm surprised that Tom is still staying out on track to try and salvage whatever has come from that incident, but yeah, the 5 plus grip penalty from the game for Pimeralda is right, is fair. Dragon at 12th with 04314, but now trying to do another lap. Bubunov invalidated, although he has time to start another one, as he is in the 3rd sector through turn 9 and 10. Tilted 15.939 to the 1st sector, so that's a good 1st sector. Flicks the same thing, pretty much. So those are very good 1st sectors. at this stage. Of course, they need to watch out for invalidation, and Flix invalidates on the exit of turn 6, takes the gravel as well, but he's out of qualifying, down in 15. Tilted is still on his lap, no ERS on his car whatsoever, so maybe he was using quite a lot of his ERS. Liam only in P10, in P11 as Chris goes up to P10. Jake up to P8, 04229. Tilted stays in the bottom 10, in 12th. Dragon, can he get himself up in the top 10 into Q3? Yes, he can, just about. Bubinov is on the lap, 16.146 to the first second. This isn't really good. Is he? Yes, he is flashing, but 44.973 is not gonna be good enough. As well, that line on the exit out of turn 7 in turn 8 was not good. So I think we can confidently say that Chris, Liam, Tilted, Bubinov, and Flix are all out of qualifying into Q3, and even if goes off track, doesn't validate, but still. Yeah. Bubinov in 14th. Flix had a good lap on his hands. Way better than Tilted, but unfortunately a mistake on the exit out turn 6. Which is very easy to do. Well, pretty much keeps him in the bottom 10. Dragon just about makes it in. Tom 9th, even with that incident. Jake into the top 10. Shaz in 7th. Miho into P6. Good qualifying for him, even though the incident between them, Miho and Shaz. Ibrahim 5th. Pimrada 4th. Of course, 5 players grid penalty for him. Tsunami 3rd. Ruggy 2nd. And Marco on the top. 2.5 tenths in front of Ruggy. And yeah, that was Q2. And then into Q3, I mean, that was probably more what I would expect from Q2. I mean, there was the incident between, of course, Shaz and Miho, as was talking about it. Then, of course, Pimrada and Tom. Tom was very lucky that he didn't get taken out. By taken out, I mean DNF. So basically, he would have been out of qualifying. So yeah, Pimrada, such a bad mistake from him to do that. And yeah. Okay, into Q3 now. A bit of clouds coming onto the circuit now. Maybe there is rain. For the very end of the qualifying, maybe. But anyways, it is dry for now. We have Pimrada out on the circuit, Jake, Miho, and Marco. Of course, everyone is going to be on the softs, but I'll just have that graphic on. We have Dragon as well coming out, Tsunami coming out, Druggy, people flying. What the fuck? How the fuck does that happen? Anyways, Pimrada starting, I would assume, his flying lap, and yes, he does start his flying lap into turn 1, up the hill, into turn 1, good cut, and a good first corner, then just using a bit of his ERS, down to 60% with the overtake, turn 2 into turn 3 now, hard braking, 16.041 from Pimrada, exiting second gear, quickly into third, the ears open, using a bit more on that ERS on the exit, into turn 4, downhill, third gear on the exit, and it does make it work. Of course, third gear does make sense with the amount of grip that you have with these softs and the amount of fuel that you have. Second sector 44.455 for Pimrada. Through turn 6 and 7 as well look good. Turn 8 as well good. I mean, it's flat out. Turn 9. Probably scratched a bit too much of that speed as well. Turn 10. Didn't look confident, and Pimerada starts the qualifying sheets with a 1:03.988 from Pimerada. Jake P2 0:44.09. Ibrahim starts his lap. Same with Michał, or they're doing their second laps. Michał definitely starting a second lap. Ibrahim starts his first lap. Marco absolutely obliterates his Q2 time. 3/10 faster than his Q2 time. 1:03.327 by Marco. Either that is a league of his own, or I don't know, Ruggy and Tsunami are gonna do that same. Ruggy definitely won't do that the same, as he is blocked by Tom. 1:04.039. Tom 0:4565. Dragon 3000 in front of Tom. Tsunami third 0:3994. So at the moment Marco is in the league of his own in Q3. 6.5 tenths in Q3 around Austria, in a track where, I mean, you'd expect them, like, you'd expect those gaps to be something like from P2 to P4, where there is 0.006 of a second from Pimerada to Tsunami, and in between there is Ibrahim, 1,000 of a second in front of Tsunami. But no, there is Marco, who has set 6/10 faster than Pimerada. Fucking hell. Michał in ninth with 0.5050. Shaz again invalidated lap time. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Ruggy was as well held up by Tom, but maybe he was trying to get a slipstream from Tom. As well, the time from Tom looks good. Well, good, I mean, like, that he didn't make a mistake, like, massive mistake. And he was just there for whatever reason. For, I don't know, disrespecting Rog. Or something like that, but... yeah, probably just tried to take the slipstream from Tom, but that backfired, as he did lose a lot of time through the third sector, probably. I mean, let's look at the times. I mean, 19.433 to the third sector is not that bad anyways. I mean, compared to Marco, that's quite bad, but... okay, second sector is where he lost a load of time. I mean, 28.706 is quite a bad time. So yeah. Ruggy will need to improve that second sector. Third sector looks very good, actually. So I was lying, I guess, with that third sector. I mean, it just looked that it was bad because he was right behind Tom. But all that slipstream helps, like, a lot. But yeah. We have some cars out on circuit. We have Jake out on circuit, starting his second flying lap of Q3. Maybe this will be his last. We don't know. I mean, the probability is high, but we will see. First corner, very nice. Then of course up the hill into turn 2 and turn 3. First sector 15.966. 72,000 up on his time to the first sector, so that's promising. To the first sector, Pimerada as well starts his lap now, his second flying lap now, taking the advantage that they don't have to worry about anyone who would block them, so they have just clean air, full focus on the circuit, on their time, on their car, or whatever they're looking at. Jake 2.5 tenths up on his time through the second sector. Pimerada, first sector, a tenth up on his time. So both are improving by good margins. Jake through the third sector, turn 9 as well, good. Turn 10, good as well. No track limits, and then just run up to the finish line. Jake, where does he go? P2. Jake goes 0.3963. Go on, Jake. A very good qualifying, and he's just confident around the circuit apparently, and Pimarada invalidates on the exit out of turn 7 by just smallest of margins. It was improving by 2.5 tenths. But unfortunately, an invalidation, which is so easy to do on the circuit, keeps him in P3, of course. With P3, he'll be starting down in P8 with his 5+ grip penalty. But yeah, unfortunate for Pimarada for that. Invalidation was so close with those margins on track limits, but yeah, unfortunately he has to settle for third now. Dragon starts his second flying lap of the qualifying into turn 1. Does he do a good first sector? Yes, he does. Good first sector that was. First corner, not first sector, because the first sector hasn't ended. Although you could say that first sector because it's only one corner. Anyways, Dragon first sector, a 10th up on his time, so that's good improvement. Good promise for the rest of the lap. Probably as well those used sets from Dragon, but anyways, down into turn 4. Has not that much ERS left, I'd say, compared to maybe some others. Through the second sector, 3.5 tenths up on his time, so that's good. Second sector from Dragon, but that's still keeping him in P7. He has got half a second to Roggy. He would need to gain 1.5 tenths to Roggy, and probably with that he will be behind Dragon. Does he up on his time? No, he does up on his time, but doesn't up on his position. Stays P7. He's 300 behind Roggy. So yeah, it does improve on his time, but unfortunately doesn't improve on his position, as the gap from Roggy to himself was so big. Like half a second, really. A bit more than half a second, but of course rounding it off. Shaz has the pressure of that one lap to try and make a good lap, which is within that one lap. If he doesn't do a good lap, then he could be in P10. He could be, because Pimarada could get relegated down to P5, and then Shaz will be in. Shaz 59.09 through the first sector, but did go a bit too wide for my liking into turn number 3. Let's see as well what Marco is gonna try and cook, because of course 6 tenths faster than Jake is ridiculous. Can he improve through the first sector? If he does, he's still improving. 6 tenths in front of Jake, and this man is still improving. I don't know where does he find that pace. Definitely not from just random bag of chips, just out of his own head somehow. Shaz through the 2 final corners very nicely. Roggy trying to take that slipstream. Shaz goes up to P2, 03744 by Shaz, and that's a very good for him. Jake, for another lap, he's coming out. Jesus Christ, how many tires does he have? Marco, a bit down on his time through the second sector, 53 thousandths down on his time. Maybe third sector, can he improve? Through the third sector, just pushing a bit more with those track limits. And on his hope, very close with those track limits on the exit of turn 10. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. Stays with that 1.03.327. Pimarada goes up to P2, 0.3705. The two McLarens are trying to help out themselves. Well, pretty much Tsunami. Miho does improve on his time. Where does he go? P9, 0.4164. Dragon stays in P8 for now. Well, he's gonna stay in P8 as Tom completes his lap and stays in P10, 0.4204. Let's see, Roggy invalidates on his lap, so he's gonna stay in 7th for this qualifying. Shaz, of course, done with his qualifying. Jake does improve. He's improving apparently through the second sector. Let's see what Tsunami is doing. I mean, we can't see. Ibrahim has invalidated his lap. Jake up on his time by a 10th. With that, he would stay in P4. But can he improve more? Stays 4th, but does improve by a 10th. Tsunami still missed that his splits. Unless, I mean, we will see what Tsunami can do on the exit of the final corner. Where does he go with his time? Doesn't go pole position, but goes P2, 03637, close behind his championship rival. But Marco still on a pole position, 3/10 faster than Tsunami through that, with that banker of a lap. I mean, this was like, I mean, it's a bit of a bad example, but like Lewis Hamilton from Singapore 2018 type level stuff. I know that is a bit of a bad example because that was bit different, but still, mega lap on that banker lap, and then just on that second lap just could not improve. But still, that first banker lap on a Q3 was good enough. Actually, the first lap, because it's not really a banker lap anymore, but still, whatever. Is on pole position. Marco by 3/10 influence on championship rival Tsunami. Pimerada third, but of course he's gonna get demoted down to P8. Shaz 4th, Jake 5th, Ibrahim 6th, Rocky 7th, Dragon 8th. Of course, all of them will get promoted by one position. Michał in 9th and Tom in 10th. Then, of course, Shaz 3rd, Jake 4th, Ibrahim 7th, Rocky 6th, and then Pimerada is going to come in 8th. Dragon in 7th, and Pimerada is going to be down in 8th. Of course, bit better for Rocky, but of course he would be he would have wanted to be up there. That invalidated lap time was half a second quicker than his previous one, so he had the pace, but unfortunately kinda bottled it on his lap. And so yeah, he's gonna have to fight his way back. And like I said, he has to catch Marco and most importantly Tsunami. He has to catch them up for that championship fight going into the two final rounds. Of course, there's still this round to fight, but of course he has to think about for the two next ones. If he wants to increase his championship chances going into those two final rounds, doesn't want to be just about in that fight with 2 rounds to go. Doesn't want to be like 50 points behind Marco or Tsunami. So yeah, he really needs to. He is gonna have to cook like probably one of his best races ever, probably around Austria for him. And then he's going to have to pray that Marco and Tsunami are going to crash into each other. I don't know, whatever is going to happen to them, he's going to have to pray that it is going to happen. Of course, would be, I mean, to be fair, would be the better if it would happen for Tsunami, of course, because then the constructors are going to get done with that a lot easier. And then, well, Marco is gonna then be the one who gains points, so his teammate is gonna be leading the championship. So at least it's gonna be his teammate who's winning the championship and not Tsunami, who is in the rival team. So yeah. So yeah, let's see. Formation lap, of course it is. I mean, duh. Just waiting for those drivers to line up for the grid slots. And then it's gonna be 36 laps of hopefully very, very exciting racing. I mean, it should be, because I mean, that's the reality of DRS training on this circuit. And yeah, let's see how it is gonna go. Drivers are lining up, final drivers as well lining up, taking the final one, and then just wait for those 5 red lights. Ibrahim is pointing a bit left, a bit right. Others a bit more to the left, more right, whatever. But there's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights with the lights out. Now, when we go here in the Austrian Grand Prix, Shaz and Ibrahim already drive through penalties. That was a massive jump start from both. I mean, Ibrahim, massive jump start, but then for Shaz probably just reacted to whatever Ibrahim did. But in the lead, Marco still leading the Grand Prix, but Tsunami is sending it down inside into turn 3, trying to take that race lead, but he might actually be demoting himself down to P5 because P3, and he's already drained all of his battery to try and get Tsunami and defend from Jake. Jake around the outside now, he gets a bit pushed off by Tsunami, and he drops himself down to P5 to P3. Rocky already up to P6. Of course, it is going to be helped by the fact that both Ibrahim and Shaz, who were in front of him, got jump starts, so that's absolutely mint for him, so he can be right in the fight with Tsunami and Marco. There's of course Jake in between, but he's not going to be that far behind them, so they're not going to be able to just get away. Of course, Rocky as well on the hards, Pimrod as well on the hards, Ibrahim and Flix as well on the hards, the rest on the mediums. I've got to completely check that in the formation lab. But the Tsunami pretty much drained out of his zeros completely, 20% compared to Marco's 50%. Jake as well around 30%. Rocky 50% behind. There's some sort of stuff happening as Miho is up to P7 in front of Tom. I think GP is as well trying to overtake Liam, and he does, or he probably defends from Liam, and they're still going side by side. And yes, he has defended himself from P10, from Liam. But in the meantime, Tsunami did overtake Marco into turn 4. So now he is the leader, but he might get swallowed going into turn 3. But of course, there's still bit time to go for that. Josh already a 3-second time penalty. A very early 3-second time penalty from the track limits. Miho Fossil Labs 06745. Now let's see, Marco should be able to just easily pass through Tsunami. Does Jake go for the overtake? Maybe around the outside. He has it. He is on the outside. He's trying to go for it around the outside of Tsunami. Tsunami just barely giving space. Meanwhile, behind Tom, falling down the places. He's down to P16. He's off the circuit. Whatever has happened to him. Maybe a mistake from his own, or being pushed from someone else. He's down to P16. A horrible race for him so far. Bubanov up to P12, but he gets re-overtaken by Luke. Although, yes, he does get re-overtaken. In the meantime, I think Tilted was the one who got overtaken by Liam. I think. I don't know. I didn't see that. But the top 7 already running out from Chris. Although Chris, does he get that DRS? I don't think so. Yellow's behind that. Dom spun on the exit out of turn 7. Pretty interesting place to spin. Does have front wing damage. So he will need to go into the pits. But yeah, pretty much this race is going to be just switching places and all that from, well, now the top 11, because Chris got that DRS. Well, a bit on Tsunami. Does he get him as well? No, he doesn't. A bit of a bad exit from him. Pimroda, I think, went into the back of Jake, which, well, now he gives the position back. I don't know, did he actually go into the back of him, but Jake was easily overtaken by Rocky. So Rocky back into the fight for the top 3. And this is good news for him as well, because he's on the hard, so he's just in the striking distance of Tsunami and Marco. Tsunami, of course, only 13% of VRS on his tank, so Rocky could just outuse him. As behind there is Josh off the circuit, and as well Tom again off the circuit. Josh has some major front wing damage. Tom somehow doesn't. Tom, I mean, again, whatever happens, Josh with a big front wing damage, he's staying out. Is down to P18 and Tom down in P17. The two Ferraris fighting for P10. A bit strange. But Marco still keeping his lead alive. Of course, Tsunami would need to, well, he would need to regain his ERS from what he lost on that lap 1 from defending and attacking. Dom again causing yellows. He's gonna get quickly lapped at this rate. Luke as well just going slow, but of course that's just, I mean, his fronting damage. It's a bit wide. And yeah, Luke, what the did he cause himself? Hey, mate, just go into the pits, please. Just go into the flipping pits and retire there. I hope he just doesn't go into a wall. I really hope that he doesn't go into a wall. He's tried already twice and he fails on that. How do you fail that? Pimrado overtaking Jake on the inside, and now this time fair and square. On the inside, got a better exit, and Jake has to settle now for 5th for now. The rest pretty much the same. Although Dragon as well trying his luck on Jake, but Pimrado trying to help Dragon, but Jake, good defending. Yeah, good. Let's see. I mean, Josh has stayed out. I mean, come on. He's not... Yeah, well done. Hope. Yeah, well done. I mean, at least it's a virtual safety car. At least it is a virtual safety car. Michał goes into the pits, which is actually beautiful for him. Tilted as well into the pits. Liam into the pits. GP into the pits. So they're taking the full advantage out of the retard that Josh is. Yeah, they're taking the full advantage out of that. So yeah, as well, Ibrahim and Shaz were down in like 14th and 15th, whatever they were. They were down the order. I mean, fuck's sake. I already forgot that they had drive-thrus for crying out loud. But yeah, Michał tilted, Liam on the softs, a bit weird. GP and Tom taking full advantage out of that VSC. And we're back at Green Flag Racing on lap 7 out of 36 from that VSC. We don't need to talk about it anymore than that. Everything is said loud and clear. We couldn't even see it, whatever happens. But yeah, the top 7 are Marco, Tsunami, Ruggy, Pimrado, Jake, Dragon, and Chris. Then after that, there's a bit bigger of a margin that is almost 5 seconds, 4.5 seconds, 4.5. Yeah, 4.5. Marco going a bit wide through turn 1. Tsunami could have a good chance of overtaking Marco, of course, with that VSC. Tsunami got himself a full ERS. I mean, everyone got themselves a full ERS, but that is more important for Tsunami as he had a very low amount of ERS before that VSC. Now he has 100%. Now we can really just save that DRS, as well as Marco has 65% only at this point. Rather going close to Ruggy, but fortunately there was no contact between them. Chris doing a mega job with keeping up with the train in front of him. And the gap is increasing to 7/10. Of course, he's praying that those drivers in front would be fighting a lot more than this. Not just like all this friendly stuff and all that. He'll be praying that they'll be fighting like it would be for their championship, which technically Ruggy, Tsunami and Marco are on right now. They're fighting for the championship, but not really in a scale like for the championship. At the moment, Tsunami, is he gonna go for it for P1? No, he isn't, but he's trying to defend from Tsunami. Marco doesn't really help his teammate out on blocking Tsunami. Liam 3 seconds. Ruggy around the outside. Does he get a good exit? He had a good exit. And he's on the outside. Marco kind of blocks his teammate out. And Ruggy goes from P3 up into P1 into the race lead. Good moves by Ruggy. And he is up into P1. Marco in P2. It is a Haas 1 and 2. And as well, Pimrado is getting attacks. Tsunami into turn 6. But fortunately for Tsunami, that doesn't happen successfully. Keeps his P3, but yeah, Rocky seems to have a better pace than Marco and Tsunami. I mean, better than Tsunami from Marco. I mean, it's really kind of impossible to tell as well from this DRS train, but he's getting away from Marco, and they pretty much have close to similar amount of ERS. So Rocky has good pace around here. He just needs to keep out from his DRS penalties, as does Marco, Tsunami, and pretty much this top 7. Chris, by the way, is up to 6th. As well, Tsunami sending it down inside on Marco. Marco send it on that sausage curb by Tsunami, and now he's gonna lose that P3 to Pimeralda. So Tsunami up into P2, Pimeralda up into P3. Marco could be losing a P4 as well. No, he doesn't, although Jake is going for the attack into turn 6. Sends it down inside, but is it going to be successful? There's still stoppage, so going into turn 7, but Jake backs out of it. And Marco keeps his P4 alive behind Bubinov. Loses 2 positions to Ibrahim and Shaz in the meantime. Yellow's behind, that's Liam. Safety car deploy, that is... What is it with these drivers causing... I mean, if Liam... What is it with these idiots just going into a wall from their rage? I mean, come on, it's not that deep. I mean, of course, it sort of depends if you're punted into a wall. Because if he got punted into a wall by, I don't know, Dakin or Tom, then yeah, I mean, if the safety car is really deployed, then I mean, it doesn't make any difference. But if he just did that on purpose, then yeah, into the can, like McCluskey said, it just in the bin. Get the fuck out. It's not like this league is struggling for drivers, which honestly I'm sometimes really surprised how is BP not struggling for drivers, pretty much keeping it the way that it's only for PlayStation people, and yeah, I don't know how BP is doing this, but it's impressive. And even with not that much promotional stuff, still, like, somehow all this stuff is happening. I don't know how BP is doing this. But anyways, Rocky pitting. The only ones who didn't pit are Flix, Jake, and Pimeralda at the moment. Of course, this kind of benefits Miho, as he could jump. Okay, he doesn't jump Tsunami, but he does jump Chris, Dragon, and more importantly, Marco. Marco down in P9, affected by that double stack from Haas. Unfortunate double stack for Haas. Of course, he was kind of praying that Rocky would stay out, since he was on the hards, but as well, Rocky, from this point onwards, I mean, let me check. Yeah, to be fair, yeah. That's, I mean, I don't even remember the sign up to it. As well, me, like, I just got in there. I mean, to be fair, Shaz knows me that I'm clean. Reggie as well. There's a lot of people from here that can vouch me that I'm clean. I mean, Rocky probably not. Rocky probably not after what's happened from yesterday. Not gonna lie. But yeah. Yeah, it is what it happens. What I was trying to... Well, yeah, the tire life. Let me check the tire life for the mediums. Because there's Ibrahim on the mediums, and there's Rocky on the mediums. Jake stayed out on the mediums, which is pretty dumb. Straight up, that's pretty dumb. Let me check the strategy. mediums lost 22 laps, punctured territory is 27. So it, on paper, Ruggie just about will make it. But then of course the pace on those mediums by the end of the race is gonna be terrible compared to the hards. It's gonna be absolutely horrible pace. So he's gonna have to defend like crazy in the final laps. Of course, I think he would have one more fresh set of mediums, because that was his hard set the first run, and I don't think he used a set of mediums in Q3 in qualifying at all. Now of course it depends. It of course depends now. Did he go for the softer allocation, normal, or harder allocation of the tires? That makes a difference. And if he did go for the softer allocation, and there's another safety car with like 15 laps to go, well, he is kind of fucked. Straight up. So, yeah. That is going to be a bit of a problem for him. So, yeah. Ruggie, of course, will need to clear out the top 3 as quickly as possible. Pretty much as everyone else. Marco will need to clear out Dragon, Chris, and Michał as quickly as possible. So that he can get back into the fight with the top 2. The net top 2. Of course, I mean, there's Pimeralda, Jake in the top 2, but they haven't pitted. They still need to pit. I mean, I'm still kind of amazed what was going on in Jake's head staying out on the mediums. Because if you would have been on the hards, okay, yeah, fair. But he's on the mediums, for crying out loud. Well, he doesn't gain at anything. Those mediums at this point on, they are at their end of their peak. At the end of their peak life, that's like entering 40s in your life. Anyways, safety car in this lap. Pimeralda trying to get any sort of tire life, tire heat into those tires. And let's see when Pimeralda is gonna restart the race, because he's in full control of the restart. And then let's see, he has gone pedal to the metal, of course, from him. And now they're green flag racing, so we're back under 4 racing. Whatever I'm trying to say. Jake looks like to go a bit of wide as well. There's a bit of a notch from Tsunami on Ruggie. It felt like Ruggie already going for the overtake on Flicks into turn number 3, and he's up into P3. And as well on the exit out of turn 3, what an exit from Ruggie compared to Jake. Already up into P2 from Ruggie. So he's already 2 positions in front of Tsunami. Tsunami needs to send it down inside on Flicks, and yes, he does send it. And Flicks, nothing really that he can do on Tsunami. Tsunami, of course, has the Sauber of Jake in front of him. He can't really send it into turn 7. Davida, I mean, he's on a set of hards, and he probably didn't know that those mediums can just about go until the end of the race. That's probably the fact why. I mean, more of a question would be Jake, not gonna lie. Marco still down in 9th. Marco is gonna be able to overtake Pimeralda easily on this main straight, going up the hill into turn 2 and 3 on the right, down inside, and yes, he is up into the race lead. Tsunami as well, easy overtake on Jake. Marco overtaking Dragon. But he gets a bit of a notch from Ibrahim. Ibrahim is on the mediums, so Ibrahim is giving him a fair fight. But Ibrahim stays behind. Meanwhile, in front of them, there's Chris, Flick, and Michał fighting for the P5, and there's contact between Flick and Chris. Flick understeering into the back of Chris, and Flick falling down the places behind Tom, down to P14. that's pretty much race over at this point on, without any safety cars. But Roggy is absolutely cooking in here. He's over a second in front of Pimeralda. Tsunami has the DRS, of course, on Pimeralda. But the DRS, the opportunity to overtake, will not be... Well, he's going to lose time going into turn 1, because Pimeralda, of course, is on those 11 lap older tires on this lap. And yeah, of course, now he has the DRS. Maybe up the on the exit of turn 3, he won't. Yes, he won't have the DRS on the exit out of turn 3, so Rocky will have the advantage of those mediums. He will just need to push on those tires. In the meantime, Marco and Ibrahim are fighting for that P7 like crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He thought that those mediums won't make it, but they to turn 4, and he is in front of Marco. Marco not really what he wants in this race, but Ibrahim goes wide into turn 6. He's on the inside, but Ibrahim, well, I think Marco just backed out. But yeah, the drivers behind Jake are a bit stuck behind him, although Miho going side by side. Might lose a position, no he doesn't, but the pack behind gets crumbed up like crazy. There's so many cars just within like a second. There's like 6 cars within a second of each other. Miho going on the outside of turn 1. Sometimes maybe a bit caught out by the fact that Jake braked like that. Miho up to P4, but of course he doesn't have the DRS, and so Jake is gonna get back in front, and down inside to Jake goes. Miho still on the outside. Miho, of course, superior grip on the exit, doesn't have the DRS. Neither Miho has the DRS. Ibrahim could go for the double overtake on Jake and Miho. Downside into turn 4, though it doesn't go for Miho, but Miho leaves him space. But it can't go for it for him as well. Marco struggling to overtake Chris. He's still down in 8th. Maybe does it go around the outside? Yes, he can go. Yes, he can. Around the outside of turn 7. Yes, he can. And Chris, I think there was contact between himself and Chris. Chris maybe just understeering into the side of Marco. And he's down to 14th. Loses the DRS maybe on the top. I don't think he will lose the DRS because there's flipping Jake causing a whole kind of flipping chaos up in front. Ibrahim going for an easy overtake on Miho. Of course, as well, Pimeralda got 3 seconds. Behind Marco, up into 6 in front of Jake. Behind this whole pack, GP, there's 2 cars sideways that's tilted. And I think that was Bubinov as well, so the 2 Alpines, unfortunate for them to have been spun, or whatever happened there, both down to 13th and 15th. And yeah, Shaz a bit bad luck in here with all the overtakes and all that. Chris as well down in 11th. Tom up into the points paying position finally, after whatever happened to him on the opening laps. I guess with himself and as well with the Sauber. I don't need to say his name. Bubinov 3 seconds. Jake goes into the pits. Bad decision from him, and as well staying out way too late with those mediums. Still a 3 second time penalty. Rocky just extending the gap on Tsunami, but that tire life is going to come back for Tsunami on the later stages of the Grand Prix. GP, is he going to go down inside on Dragon into turn 3? No, he doesn't. Fakes it into turn 3. Behind, no one going for it. With Shaz going for it on Chris, but Chris ghosted. Maybe a bit mistake from Chris. GP, does he send it on Dragon? Yes, he does send it. Going a bit wide, but Dragon giving plenty of space. But Dragon gets a better exit than GP. Bubinov as well overtaking Chris, so he's up to P11. Tom right behind GP. Of course, GP was a bit struggling for the overtake on Dragon. Shaz close behind him as well, so he needs to watch out for him as well. Miho is in the DRS distance of Marco and Ibrahim. Marco, this race is going whatever at this point on, but the race is still 15 laps long. Tom sneaking out from the back of GP. Of course, can't really do anything into turn 1, but Shaz is going for the overtake on Tom, as well. GP going on the overtake on Dragon. Let's see what is going to go. 3-1 into turn 3. GP goes a bit wide, but does stick into the racetrack. But does he have the DRS? No, he doesn't have the DRS, so he could get eaten by both Tom and Dragon. And yes, he does, from being up into P7 or into turn 7 to going down into P10 on turn 4. That's how racing goes sometimes. You just have to sometimes think ahead of the race. And yeah, sometimes just this happens. So yeah, GP lost, well, gained 3 positions, but then lost 3 positions. Michał 3 seconds, another 3 seconds for him, so he's gonna get demoted by quite a lot. Dragon close behind Shaz. Of course, Shaz has gone 3 positions up from last lap. So yeah, but the gap from Dragon to Shaz is a bit too big. Jake, 3-second time penalty. He has pretty much ruined his race. Unless there's going to be a safety car, the race is done for him. Dragon goes a bit wide, but does stick to the corner, and with that mistake, he's not going to be able to be close enough for the overtake on Shaz. In the meantime, Michał has lost the DRS on Ibrahim. Ibrahim, I think as well, is going to lose the DRS on Marco. Marco has caught up to Pimerada, who was still somehow within Tsunami's DRS, but now I think it's going to be the point where Pimerada is going to be outside of the DRS, and so it's going to be an easy overtake for Marco. The gap from Tsunami to Roggy, it is keeping at about consistent 2.3 seconds. It has gone down a tenth, so it might be now already the tire life showing from Roggy compared to Tsunami, aka from mediums to hards. Marco overtaking Pimerada easily. Ibrahim, I think it will be a very long off way from sending it, but he can get close to. He can get close to him, maybe get a mega exit out of this corner. He's still got that superior power tire life. Meanwhile, behind Chris again, and this time spun into turn 4. Damaged front wing, damaged end plates, and the good race that he had as again, but this time in Austria, does get ruined by what? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Well done as well. You get banned as well, apparently, and that is a safety car, which, to be fair, is in a very good timing for Roggy, but yeah, probably again down to the bin. I mean, come on, who the hell does does that? Marco is gonna get fucked again by the double stack. Roggy, Michał, 10 seconds. That's his race gone. Tires for Roggy, mediums, brand new mediums. That is absolutely wonderful for him. I think Tsunami might have used those mediums a bit, so it might be a bit worse for him. Marco only loses 1 position to Pimerada, so it's not too bad for Marco. Could have been always a lot worse for him. Could have been down in 8th, but he's only down in 4th. Of course, suboptimal. That's not really ideal deal. That he's behind Pimerada, but still good that he is in a touch of distance of Tsunami and Roggy. This does help out Roggy a lot, because now he has to just drive till the end on these mediums. He just has to drive on these mediums till the end, and it's guaranteed. He needs to save a bit of that fuel though, because it is running quite low. At least from... I wouldn't be so comfortable with the amount of fuel that he has. He's doing the old... Is that tactic in play, really? I mean, it does help out Roggy a bit with the fuel. With tires, it doesn't. That was the trick why... I mean, that was why the the trick was so popular. The brake. Well, this whatever he is doing. Let's see it. Yeah, there it is. Pressing that brake pedal as well as full throttling it. The reason, I mean, on F1 23, the reason why it was so popular was purely because of the fact that you were gaining tire war. The tires were warming up from that technique. Nowadays they don't, but it does help out with the fuel, apparently. So yeah, good usage of a somewhat of an old tactic. It's like a year old from last year's tactic. Jake in P11, but he's on 5-lap old hard, so could have just pitted for a free pit stop, mate. But whatever. Yeah, Michał, his race is done pretty much, as he's got 16 seconds of penalties. Safety car is in this lap. Rocky is going to control the pace, of course, as normal. Pimiral down P3, but he has a 3-second time penalty. Marco P4. Ibrahim and Shaz, good recovery after the massive jump starts that they had, especially Ibrahim. I don't think the lights were 5 lights when he went up. I think just the moment that they hit 5 red lights, he just went. I mean, Jesus Christ. Ruggy, when is he gonna go for that restart? Is it gonna be here? Yes, it is. The same place, almost the same place as Pimerada, a bit later, but still it's the same place. Ruggy leads the way in P1 in front of everyone else. Flick is close behind Jake, side by side, but doesn't go for it. Let's go back to the front. As maybe Pimerada, maybe someone would be cheeky for a cheeky overtake into turn 3, but no one does an overtake. Maybe behind someone could go for a cheeky overtake. Bubinov on Dakin. Is he going to go for it down inside? Dakin goes wide and goes wide himself as well. Bubinov up to 14th. Behind, very clean and boring the first lap after the safety car restart, I'd have to say. At least the first sector. Second sector as well. I mean, in the second sector you can't really overtake, but still pretty clean first lap after the safety car. After the safety car, Michał's 19 seconds of penalties. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, he's gonna be lost. Whatever happens, he's gonna be lost, or out of the points. Whatever happens. He's lost the position as well to Tom. He might lose it as well to GP, maybe to Dragon as well, because there's loads of drives behind him, right behind him. Tsunami is going to go for the overtake on Ruggy, up the hill into turn 3. On the inside, doesn't have the DRS. The DRS on Tsunami as expected. Does he go for the overtake? No, he doesn't. Behind, Shaz has overtaken Tom. The top 6 have already run away from Tom. Jake already down to P12 from P11 only, actually. But still, GP in P11. Michał didn't drop a place, and GP, I think, actually dropped a place. 2 places, actually, to Dragon and Flick. Somehow. So, yeah, he is down to P11. Of course, he's going to be back to P9 with Flick and especially Michał. His 19 seconds of penalties. I mean, Jesus Christ. Of course, 10 seconds from speeding on pits, but goddamn. Shaz right behind Marco. Marco could be in trouble of Shaz, and he is going for it, going for the overtake on Marco. He's down inside. He's going to be down inside into turn 3. Yeah, there's contact, and there's more contact, and this is a disaster for Marco. That was way too optimistic by Shaz. I think Shaz just misjudged his braking point. He had nowhere to go. They were 3 wide going into turn 3, and now they're going 3 wide into turn 4. Pimerada, of course, is going to be absolutely furious at that. Marco the same. because he's fighting for the championship. Tsunami is going to be cheering at this because Marco is down in P9. This is absolutely wonderful for Tsunami, for the Drivers' Championship. Ibrahim in P3. McLarens could go for a double podium in here. Tom in P4. This could be absolutely madness. Of course, there's still 8 laps to go in this race. Pimerada, Shaz and Marco will try and go for crazy moves. For example, into turn 1, because they're already fighting into turn 1. Marco going for the overtake on Shaz. Tsunami overtakes Rocky, but this is way more exciting because Marco goes for the double overtake on Pimerada and Shaz. And Shaz again, some kind of a mistake maybe, drops down to 12. Shaz is bottling this quite hard. Shaz might get even overtaken by Tilted. Is he going to send it down inside? No, he's still there. He is there on the inside. But Shaz with a better exit out of turn 4. Marco already up into P7, of course. He has that penalty of 3 seconds, but we don't know. Will he get that off? Was that for the contact with Shaz and Pimerada as Jake got completely pushed off by Flick? So this will be a penalty going at Flick's way, unless it's not going to get reported by anyone. But yeah, Flick drops down to P11. Shaz already up into the points paying position on track. Tilted trying to go for P11 on Flick. This is not a good place to overtake, and Flick just backs out of it, as kind of should. Marco already trying to go for the overtake on Dragon. Can he go for the double overtake again? This time on Dragon and Miho into turn 3. Yes, he can. Miho still on the outside. No anymore. Marco up to P5. He is on an absolute charge. Of course, he's going to be absolutely furious. What happens? None of his fault whatsoever. And yeah, he's up to P5. Right behind Tom. Of course, he has got that 3-second time penalty. But, again, we don't know, was that from the contact with Shaz and Pimerada, or was that later, after that contact, by zone? Because if that is by zone, then that's no 3-second removal, probably. But if that was from Pimerada and Shaz, then that will probably be a penalty removal. I mean, honestly, Tsunami could be absolutely cooking right here. He won yesterday he won in Division 1 with the help of Ollie X. Now he has some sort of help with Ibrahim. Whatever happened to Tom with 13 seconds of penalties on his way, I don't know. But Marco is up to P4. But I've missed this. Whatever happened to him? I mean, Tom must have just completely caught that turn 3 corner. Whatever happened to him? I don't know. But he's down to P4. Tilted up into P10 in front of GP. And yeah, Marco is of course on an absolute charge. And yeah, I mean, again, we don't know if there was there contact between Tom and Marco, and what kind of way was that Marco's fault? Was that Tom just moving on Marco? Whatever. But Marco is setting a fast lap. 0.5533 by Marco. That 1 extra point will come and help, as Dakin has spun himself on the exit of turn 9. Hopefully he just goes into the pits and retires himself there, if he's going to retire himself. Flick, there's contact between Rocky and Tsunami, both go off. Tsunami went off the circuit, and Ibrahim just goes past both of them. This is like Hamilton and Perez, and now Ibrahim helps his teammate out. A bit of contact between them, but Ibrahim helping his teammate out completely, and this is the teamwork, makes the dream work, absolute at its finest. Rocky stuck behind Ibrahim now. Ibrahim, of course, is going to be slowing the heck out of Rocky. He's going to be helping out Tsunami as much as possible, but then as well try and have that DRS so that Rocky cannot have an easy overtake on Ibrahim. Both of them have got 80 to 60% ERS. AK means that both of them can attack or defend. Of course, Tsunami will have a bit less of defensive material. aka ERS, but still, Marco is catching Roggy with a ridiculous pace. Of course, that was the help with whatever happened with Ibrahim and Tsunami and Roggy. Roggy trying to go around the outside of Ibrahim. Ibrahim leaves him space. Around the outside, Roggy had an amazing exit out of turn 3. Does he get Ibrahim and does he get Tsunami? Tsunami kinda boxes him into turn 4. That was a bit wobbly from Tsunami on that straight, but whatever it is, Roggy is up to P2 and is in touching distance of Tsunami. Both of them are saving ERS. At this point, you will be thinking about the final lap of the Grand Prix. Marco has the DRS on Ibrahim. He's absolutely furious. He is absolutely on a hammer time with anger at him. He's on it. He's cooking in here. Michał, 21 seconds of penalties. Yeah. But yet, Tsunami is he gonna get overtaken by Roggy up into turn number 3? The answer is gonna be, I think, yes. Roggy is gonna be down inside. Roggy won't have the DRS going into turn 3. Tsunami will have a good exit out of turn 3. Has the DRS. And so, Tsunami doesn't go for the overtake. Ibrahim doesn't go for the overtake on Tsunami, but he has to watch out from behind as Marco is right behind him. Roggy does stick with the race lead for now. Behind, Shaz and Tom are fighting side by side on the exit of turn 4 and 5. Shaz in front of Tom. Tom, of course, has got those 13 seconds of penalties. But again, we don't know whatever happened with Tom and Marco. That could be a crucial thing for Marco. Even if he gets a 3-second time penalty off, then it could be that he gets 5 seconds, 10 seconds penalties at his way from contact with Tom. Whatever happened there, I don't know. We will see after the race. So whatever it is happening now is going to be mainly between Roggy, Tsunami and Ibrahim for the race lead. Ibrahim could be taking his first win of the season. I'm assuming his first win of prestige, of his prestige career. I'm assuming. I didn't look at in the stats that much. I don't think there's any way how of seeing them really. But Tsunami and Roggy, both of them thinking about the final lap. Final lap is gonna be important. Tsunami, of course, trying to maximize the gains from Marco. Marco is gonna need to be in front of Shaz by over 3 seconds. Shaz is though catching a bit on Marco, but Marco, of course, has the DRS on the 3 in front, but they will fight probably quite a lot. Both of them have almost 100% of VRS. Ibrahim has as well 70% of VRS. Tsunami starts the final lap a bit rough. That exit out of the final lap was not really good. Roggy into turn 1. Does get a decent exit compared to Tsunami, but the gap is 3.5 tenths. Tsunami using everything, Roggy using everything. But is it going to be enough for Tsunami into turn 3? Does he send it down inside? Yes, he does send it down inside. He's going to have the DRS onto this straight. Roggy doesn't have a good exit. And so Tsunami, on paper, should be able to lead going into turn 4. He is still leading, but Roggy around the outside. Roggy sends it down inside into turn 4. He's desperate for those points for the championship. He does get a bit of an oversteer on the exit. Now he's going to be on the outside of turn 6. Does he get a good run on the outside? Yes, he does. Turn 7. They're still side by side. Roggy around the outside. Can he make the move done? Yes, he can make the move done around the outside of turn 7. Both of them, no ERS. What's for Ibrahim trying to go side by side with Tsunami. Of course, Pirmalda attacking him. And into the final lap of the final corner, Roggy wins the Austrian Grand Prix on track, in front of Tsunami, in front of Ibrahim. Pirmalda P4, Marco P5, Shaz P7, Dragon P7, Tilted P8, Jake P8, Tilted P9, GP rounds of the top 10. Flick P11, Tom P12, Michał 13, Bubanov 13, Michał 14, Dakin 15 with 50 seconds behind. Fuck me, man. Oh my goodness me, lads, don't try and kill me, man. Don't try and kill me with with this. I wasn't probably. I don't think I consciously took a breath on that final lap. Oh my god, man. Rocky closes in on Tsunami and Marco, but most importantly for Tsunami, he extends his championship lead over Marco by 8 points. 7 points on Marco. 18 minus 10. Oh, for fuck's sake, they can just finish the lap, or just go straight into a wall. Whatever. For fuck's sake. Oh, for crying out loud, Dakin. Just full gas into the. Oh, come on. It's there. Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, don't flipping kill me, man, next time. I knew that this Austrian Grand Prix is gonna be an all-timer, probably of the season, but fucking hell, that was way too much. No, I mean, Jesus Christ, Ruggie, fantastic race, on paper. There's of course that Ruggie Tsunami thing, Tsunami going a bit off track. That probably is going to be getting reported, but whatever. On track, Ruggie wins in Austria. Tsunami second, Ibrahim third. Ruggie closes in a bit on Tsunami. At least a bit. Ibrahim third. Good finish. Marco fifth, unfortunate with that contact with Pimerald and Shas. Shas just misses breaking points completely. And then at that point just had nowhere to go, tried to go three-way into turn 3 last minute, but of course he had nowhere to go, so yeah. Dragon P7 Jake, whatever that strategy was under the first safety car, he needs to wake up. But still points for him, and points for Sauber. P9 tilted from 13th, and then GP from 16th, P10, still a decent race. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever that flipping two final laps were, I don't flipping know, man. Crazy. Absolute cinema. I was. I probably need 5 minutes to recover from that. But yeah. I mean, to be fair, I mean that would be a very easy content for TikTok, whatever you have PP has, in terms of promotional stuff, whatever they have, if they have, of course, because you never know. Yeah. Next week is Brazil, if I remember right. Yes, Brazil, so should be an all-timer here there as well. Should be an easy all-timer there. I don't think better than Austria, but I mean, we'll see. We will see how it is going to be in Austria, but I'll just tell you that final lap could just go like onto a TikTok, if that TikTok is active. Probably not, but anyways. Yeah. Whew. Next week is Brazil, so see you next week. Hopefully the Ruggie, the flipping top 5 will not try and kill me the same way as today. Yeah, see you next week on Brazil.